going? This is the Conor Mallon Band, the whole way from the north of Ireland. We're going to get stuck in with a song called The Galbilly Farmer.
One evening of late as I happened to stray to the county Tipperary, I straight took my way to dig the potatoes and work by the day. I hired with the Galbilly Farmer. I asked him how far we were bound for to go, for the night it was dark and the cold winds didn't blow. I was hungry and tired, my spirits were low, for I got neither whiskey nor cordial. This miserable miser, he mounted his steed to the Galbilly mountains, he rode with great speed. Surely I thought that my poor heart would bleed to be trudging behind that miser. When I came to his cottage, I entered it first. It looked like a kettle or a room that I changed. 'Cause I to myself, I am left in the lurch in the house of old Darby O'Leary. I will recollect it was Michael last night, to a hearty fine supper he did prepare. This night that would give you the dropping disorder, and the little potato to poison the cat, and the barn where my people so on. Just a little high from there, lying up for to lie in my home till the morning. I understood that my man in the barn, it was not very good, and the rockets were made in the time of the floods, the clothes and the sheets in proportion. As on the southern miser island, where the fry when the straws brought out for to make my shade up, and I wished that I'd never seen Galbilly town, the sky over Darby O'Leary. Now I've worked in Tulsa, I've worked in Gilmore, I've worked in Knockady and Shanbally, in Palestine, Sodmore, decent respectable farmers. Now I've worked in Tipperary, the Rag and Rose Green, at the mouth of Kilfield, the bridge of Line. The full starvation I've never yet seen, as I got from old Darby O'Leary.
Yo! Good man. It's Mr. Jack Warner. I'm Conor Mallon, Fenton Mulholland, and Mr. Paul Starrett. I'm from County Armagh, and the three boys are from Derry, County Derry. We'll play a set of tunes that I composed about where I'm from in County Armagh. Armagh gets its name from the goddess of war and fertility, Macha, M-A-C-H-A. So Ardmacha means the burial site on which she was buried. So it's the hilltop of Macha. So once we're tuned, you can blast. playing the Tulsa Irish Festival this weekend on Friday and Saturday, and also Sunday. Friday is at 5:15, and so is Saturday. And what Sunday is, I'll tell you when I figure that out. 1:30. So can't wait. We're really looking forward to it. This is our first time playing the Tulsa Irish Festival. Our second time in Tulsa, our second time in Oklahoma. So we're really looking forward to the festival this weekend.
Paul, give us a little something on that. Crank the distortion up and give us the
Yeah. Take us to Shred Town, sir.
shred it real quick.
What we'll play now.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you started.
All right, this is the special Tulsa Irish Festival edition of the Up Late Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy DeJournette. I'm here with KT Goode with the Goode Academy of Irish Dance, and this evening we are talking about the history of Irish dance, as well as whatever else KT wants to talk about. I'm really excited to get into it. Let's do a cheers.
Cheers.
Tulsa Irish Festival is coming up March 7, 8, and 9 at Dreamkeepers Park. That's formerly Veterans Park. You're not going to want to miss it. Go to tulsairishfest.org. You can use the discount code UPLATE at checkout and get 10% off your tickets. So, KT, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of Irish dance?
Irish dancing. The documentary is called Steps of Freedom, The Story of Irish Dance, which I think would be a great documentary for everyone to watch if they want to know more about the history in depth about Irish dancing. Jean Butler, who was part of this documentary, I loved how she said Irish dance is an invented tradition. That makes a lot of sense because the Gaelic League was established to revitalize Irish culture after they gained their independence from Britain. The organization that I am certified under, CLRG on commission, was established in 1930. Once the Gaelic League decided to revitalize Irish culture, once they regained their independence from Britain, they had to then, Irish dancing was taking off, and they established on commission so that they can have regulations and rules. And one of the things that I learned more about was how much competition is really rooted in the tradition of Irish dance. I think a lot of people come to Irish dance. It's a very conservative style of dance, traditional folk dancing. And in Oklahoma, you would think like you're not as aware of the competitive nature. When people come to Irish dance, they come to it for the recreational benefits of it and are always kind of surprised. And
it's intense. It gets incredibly intense, especially at the championship level. Do we know approximately when Irish dance sort of came into its own? I know it's hundreds of years old. Was it
Well,
over a
it kind
certain
of
time?
seems like, I feel like there's like two phases. What Irish dance is now, kind of like what Jean had said, it is an invented tradition, but structure around it. They had rules, regulations, because people were competing. People wanted to compete. They were, they talk about the medals that they would wear to class and display. So once you won a medal, you would wear it. And they were just filled to the brim. And so there, like I said, there's always been this competitive nature. It's been rooted in the traditional of Irish dance. But they had to have a format that kind of regulated it across the world.
Irish dance teachers, Irish instructors, were basically guardians of the Irish culture.
Yes.
And they were actually esteemed on the same level as priests and doctors and, governors and things like this. They actually were very, very highly esteemed. And the dance teacher was one of those roles that was very highly honored and still is to this day.
So they are called the masters, the dance masters. And the dance masters would travel to small villages and they would do about 6-week rotation. And so the dance masters, I would say that would be the more modern, I was talking about, there seems to be kind of like two phases. There was Irish dance long before, and I had read some books by Dr. John Cullinan that he has done some extensive work, and he really, really did his due diligence to figure out the earliest mention of dance. And I think some of the earliest mention had to do with more of like the Cayley type dancing, the social dancing, group gatherings.
The group dancing.
Yeah. And that
which they
kind of
still use to this
Yes.
day. It's still a competitive part of feshes.
Yes. Irish Cayley dancing, it seemed to be influenced by French dancing, the quadrilles that they were dancing. And what we see today is more of the modern tradition of Irish dancing.
I don't know if this is true or not. And you know what I'm going to say,
I know what you're
right?
going to ask, yeah.
So I heard when living in Ireland, we lived in Ireland for 5 years. I heard when we were living there that the reason that the Irish dancers have their arms to their side, which is sort of this very distinctive, difference between Irish dance and other dances of that region. The British sort of restricted dancing, and soldiers would sort of walk around the neighborhoods and make sure you weren't dancing or having fun in any way.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that, or is this just another Irish like folklore sort of invented?
Irish dance, the way that it has come to be the way it is now, it's because of the political and social norms of the time. It wasn't that they kept their arms down because the British would walk by and maybe potentially see them dancing. A lot of the arm things had to do more with dancing was done in the kitchens, and it's a very small space. And also the floors were made of dirt and mud.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't get the acoustic sounds. So they would take the door off the hinges and put it down. So really all they had was this very small space to kind of dance on. You really couldn't use your arms.
So the first Irish dance stage was literally the front door of the house or the barn.
Or the
in
kitchen
some
door,
cases.
or the barn door, yeah.
Yeah.
And they used to say that the best dancer was the dancer that could dance on a sixpence, so in one spot. I remember being told by some of my dance teachers that the original masters would draw a circle on the floor and you would have to dance in that circle. And so everything was really kind of stationary. On commission really kind of, the style was there, but then they really kind of solidified it. Over time, as the stages got bigger, the dancing got bigger. The other story to why the arms were down is because it was less provocative. And
Okay, a little more modest, I guess.
yes,
Yeah.
and I would say that had to do a lot with the, I'm not sure what the year was, but dancing was a sin, right?
Yeah.
And, dancing invited the devil
Still
in.
is in certain circles.
It still is in certain circles. Or they'd say leave room for the Holy Ghost, you know.
6 inches.
And so a lot of it was adopted by the clergy. They really kind of like grasped They really, cling to this vertical, no arms. And even with the Kaylee dancing, they talked about how you actually would have a hand across to your partner, which then would keep your body separate. There's a quote on that documentary that was so funny. It was, "Dancing is the vertical expression of a horizontal desire."
That was on the documentary?
Yes, it was so funny. And so basically, they held their arms down. They weren't expressing themselves in a sexual manner, but they weren't dancing with their arms down to avoid being seen by the British. It
Right,
just,
right.
That just kind of got reinforced by, they actually like to say it's the opposite. They had their arms down because they wanted to show their resilience and how strong they were, and they were, a force to be reckoned with, that they had control. If they could dance with their arms down, they had the control. What really changed the path of Irish dancing was when they established the All Irelands in 1933 and then the World Championships in 1970. And Michael Flatley was the first North American dancer to win the World Championships. And we all know Michael Flatley. I mean, he didn't do it on his own, but he is the face of Riverdance. He really brought Irish dance to the mainstream, I would say. He brought the sexual aspect back to dance. I wouldn't say sexual. Well, I'm using the documentary a lot to kind of as a source, but I think it brought back a lot more of the passion, expression, the expression of self, and you can't help but the way that he came on the stage.
Michael Flatley. I'll show a picture of
the
him.
energy.
Yeah, look at this.
Right.
This is pure sexual energy right here. Take a look at this guy.
Well, and I know everybody makes fun of his shirts, but I really loved what they talked about is, what he did is he came out with so much confidence, and I really can't wait to take that back to my dancers, because there's so many times where they are afraid to take risk, or they're afraid to put it all out there on the stage for fear of how they're going to be looked at, not just the judges, but maybe their peers and friends and other dancers. The energy and confidence that Michael Flatley came out with, and it just was mesmerizing. While I've been teaching a very long time in Tulsa, Irish dance is a big part of my life. It's obviously a part of my everyday life, and I'm very much immersed in it. But I still feel like we're just kind of still, off to the side, where the culture of Irish dance is much bigger and broader and more mainstream in Chicago, in Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. But you are, and you have been, the face. You have brought effectively. I know there's been others. But Goode Academy of Irish Dance is a staple in Tulsa, Oklahoma. How many students do you have in your school now?
I have about 70, 75.
That's incredible. Tulsa Irish Festival coming up March 7, 8, and 9 at Dreamkeepers Park. You will have your dancers there?
We
your
will
school
have
will be
them
there?
there. We are going to be doing some dancing in the kids' tent, in the kids' zone.
Kids Zone,
And we will be dancing on the main stage at 2:15. And then we will be dancing
On Friday?
On Saturday.
On
so
Saturday.
We'll be dancing 2:15 on Saturday, and then we'll be dancing again on Sunday at 5:15.
And this is all main stage, 2:15 Saturday, 5:15 Sunday. Are you dancing Friday?
We are not.
You're not dancing Friday. Okay. So people come have a good time, see the dancers on Saturday, 2:15 Sunday at 5:15 in the main tent. And you can also catch them in the kids zone.
We'll be dancing before our main stage performance in the kids zone.
Perfect.
And we will also be doing a free instructional after our performance. So follow us back to the kids zone after we dance on the main stage, and we'll be doing a free instructional.
So anyone can come and learn some Irish dance steps.
And I shout out to my adults who won the national championship this summer.
What?
Yes, our adult forehand won the national championship.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
And we had 2 adult teams. Our second team got 4th. They all earned that championship in my eyes, But so we brought home our first national championship this summer. I have so many adults that ask me if I have classes, and I do. Come Tuesday, come to the class, just show up. It's amazing.
What time does it start?
The class starts at 7:30.
Okay.
And honestly, if they feel intimidated because some of my adults may have been taking for a couple of years, don't feel intimidated, just come. One thing I will say is that when you come to my class, because you're gonna come, your calves might hurt the next day, but just take a hot bath. Don't
And this
quit.
is Tuesday night, what time?
Tuesday night, 7:30 to 9.
And
But
folks can just show up.
I tell you, just show up.
Okay.
Just show up.
See if you like
Come
it.
to a class, show up. We're in I think it's the Highland Plaza. It's across from Bishop Kelly on Hudson.
It's close to 41st
Right next
and
to
Yale.
Desi
It's
Walk.
east of 41st and Yale. It's close to 41st and Hudson.
Yeah.
There used to be a Panera. Is
There's
there
a
still
Panera
there's still a
at-
Panera
yeah,
over there?
it's at the front of that shopping center. Come in, try it out. Our adults are very welcoming.
That's it for this episode of the Up Late Real Estate Podcast. We're so glad you've watched all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget the Tulsa Irish Festival is the weekend of March 7th, 8th, and 9th, and you can catch KT Goode and the Goode Academy of Irish Dance and her dancers all weekend at the Tulsa Irish Festival. Don't miss it. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Cheers.
And